Hello everyone, and this is Phoenix here, and today we're going to be doing a video response to KITT171. So pretty recently he did a video called 5 gaming items that you'd love to own. So pretty much just 5 items that are gaming related that you would just love to own, but usually the reasoning is either because it's rare, or it's expensive, or it's just really hard to come by, or anything along those lines, and I have to say he actually did a really good job on that video. In fact, I even learned something new, that apparently the Sega Genesis had an add-on where you can actually do your banking on. Isn't that so weird? But at the same time, it's also pretty damn cool, because I don't think you can do that on your PS4 or your Xbox One or your Wii U, so I found that to be very fascinating. And of course, all the other suggestions he made were also very good as well. But I just wanted to mention that one, just because that one was just so very different. So for my response, I'm going to name 5 gaming items that I would love to own myself, and yes, I'm not going to be doing this on camera as you can tell, because I'm actually not really feeling well, but I am feeling good enough to do a video, so I just decided to do it like this. And I know some of the gameplay footage probably might not match up to what I'm talking about, but hey, that's okay. So let's get this show started. So the first item I want to mention is a game system. Now there's a ton of systems I could pick from. I mean, just for an example, I could pick like the PC Engine, I could also pick the Neo Geo, and there's tons of other cool stuff. But the one that I want to mention here is a Sega CDX. The reason why I want one of these is mostly because it's actually the best version of a Sega CD that you can get. I mean, I know one of the reasons is that it's smaller, so it doesn't take as much space, and even the plug-in that it has is not a big, huge fucking brick. So, meaning that there's less wires, and those are all good things. But the other reason why is because I don't have anything related to the Sega CD at all, and I would love to get into it more. I mean, yeah, I've played a couple of games on the emulator before, and some of them do work pretty well. But it would just be a really cool thing to start collecting for, because I know there's actually a lot of good games on there, just to name a couple. So there's Lords of Thunder, Dark Wizard, Hopeful Mail, the Terminator game, and then lastly I'll mention is the sequel to Musha. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but it's another shoot 'em up that's actually just as good as that game. So yeah, there's a lot of games that I could mention, but we'd be here forever. But having a Sega CDX would definitely be a very cool thing to have. It's just unfortunate that the least I've ever seen it for was like $300. Now, getting a system used for that price is definitely very expensive, but I have to be thankful that at least it's not as expensive as getting a Neo Geo. But having a Neo Geo would be pretty awesome, but I'm not really counting on it all that much, but you never know, maybe one day. So those are my reasons why I would love to have a Sega CDX, because it's definitely a really good system, and it's also very underrated. So now, as for my second item that I would love to own, and this is one that I kinda question myself for, but it's really just for lols, really. And that happened to be Rob the Robot. I'm sure most of us know what this thing is. It's an attachment that was for the NES that actually came with the NES when it first launched. And it was actually one of the main selling points of why the gaming market actually got back on its feet. Considering that the Rob attachment is really just a selling point, because toy robots were a big thing at the time. So anyways, the reason why I would actually want a Rob is mostly because it just looks cool. I know that may sound like a dumb answer just to own an attachment that is really just a failed peripheral, but funny thing is, I actually first heard about Rob when I got my NES on a yard sale, and I was looking through the instruction manual and they had an advertisement for it. So when I first got the NES and I was looking at the robot thing, I really had no idea what it was used for, and I was always very curious about it. And even at that time, I still thought it looked really cool. Also, the fact that they made him into a character on Super Smash Bros. Is pretty awesome. Now, I'm fully aware that the Rob attachment is more of a hassle to actually get working, considering that you need a shit ton of batteries for it, and it's only compatible with 2 games, but it would definitely be an experience I would like to try out myself, even if all it does is just tip over blocks when it's not supposed to. Well, either way, Rob the Robot is one of those things that I just want just because it looks cool. And even if I don't ever get one, because I know the thing is actually pretty damn expensive, at least I got the amiibo of it. So at least that counts for something, right? So now, as for number 3, this one is actually going to be an arcade machine, and well, there's a ton of them I can actually mention here, considering at least owning one arcade would be awesome. Even if it's something I'm not particularly a huge fan of, at least having an arcade cabinet of it would still be awesome. But if there was any arcade machine that I would love to own, I would probably have to go with any of the Neo Geo arcade machines. One of the main reasons why I'd want one of these is not just because a lot of the games on there are awesome, but it's actually one arcade cabinet that has like a bunch of games with it. Some of them have 4, some have 3, and I think there's one that has 2. So when you think about it, you're like getting like a whole bunch of games in one arcade cabinet, which is pretty nice. So I know some of them come with ones like Metal Slug, and then there's some that come with the fighting games like World Heroes and Fatal Fury and Samurai Showdown. and I enjoy all those very much so. But overall, any arcade machine would really do it for me. I mean, if I ever found a good deal on one, I would definitely jump on it. But the Neo Geo one would definitely be a big favorite of mine, although if I really wanted to be unrealistic about it, I'd probably say like getting an arcade cabinet of Ninja Baseball Batman, just because that game is just so ridiculously fun, funny, and whatnot. Yeah, I just find it so crazy to know that Ninja Baseball Batman only had like less than 1,000 arcade cabinets made in the US. But I'm totally fine with playing it on MAME, even though it doesn't run perfectly, but it runs okay enough. I still think they need to put that game on PSN, Xbox Live, the Nintendo Shop, and even Steam. That would make things so much easier, but oh well, we'll have to wait and see. Now as for number 4, this one is going to be kind of a generalization, meaning it's not just going to be one specific thing. I don't know if that's cheating or not, but I'm just going to say it anyway, just because it's really hard to pick one thing out of it because it's all related to one of my favorite game series, and that happens to be anything that is related to the Deception series. Now, I'll just need some examples, such as one being the collector's edition of Deception 4 that was only released in Japan. So not only does the box for it look really cool, but it actually comes with an art book that looks very nice. And one of the most unique things that it comes with is a jigsaw puzzle, which has a really cool picture to it, and I'm just like, wow, that's actually pretty awesome. So that's one thing that is related to it that I would love to have, but another one would have to be the original OSTs. So because I really love the music in these games, having the OST for it would actually be pretty awesome. And I really dig the art on this one too. Even though I was only able to find OSTs of the second game and the third game, which is fine because those two have the best music anyway. And even though I do have all the songs on my computer, it would definitely be something I would love to own just because I just love physical media. Now the last thing that I want to mention that is related to this that does float around sometimes is this DVD called The History of Trap Game. Now unfortunately I can't really tell you what it consists of because I can't find much info on it, but the only site I've seen that actually sells it is some Japanese site that I have no idea what the hell it's trying to say. So this is something I would like to own just because I'm very curious about it and I can't seem to find much info on it. So it kind of makes me want it even more just because I have no idea what it consists of. But just from speculation, I just think it's probably like an interview with some of the creators of the game and telling you how they made the game or something. I don't know, that's the only thing I can think of. And that does sound interesting enough if that really was the case. So yeah, like I said, this one is more like a curiosity just because I have no idea what the hell it's all about, and it also has a very cool front cover. So yeah, those are the things that I can think of that are related to the Deception series that I would just love to have that I don't have for some reason or another. Even though I don't think there are figurines of it, but even if there was, that'd be pretty awesome. I would definitely buy that day one. Or something that I'm very curious about is that I'm actually wondering if someone is willing to actually make one of the main characters into an amiibo. I think that would be pretty awesome. I only know one person that actually makes custom amiibos and man, they do a fantastic job. It's just a shame I don't know them in person because if that were the case, it probably would have happened already. So that's all I have to say about that one just because I'm a huge fan of that series. Now as for number 5, and this is the final one that I'm going to be mentioning here, and this one happens to be a giant book called Xenogears Perfect Works. The easiest way to explain what this book is pretty much it's like the Zelda Historia, but with Xenogears and Xenosaga. Now I am also a huge fan of that series as well, so having an encyclopedia book for it with some very nice artwork, and it even has some interviews, and it even consists of some stories that were not told in the original game, and some ideas that they originally had but then were later scrapped. So if you're a fan of Xenogears or Xenosaga or both or just anything Xeno related, then yeah, this is definitely a must-have for you then. But it's gonna at least cost you $60 and more. Well, the cheapest I've ever seen it for was $60. The highest I've ever seen it for was $150, but I think $150 is a bit too much. But someday I would definitely love to own this book. So that sums up my 5 most wanted gaming related items I would love to own. So I have to say thank you to KITT171 for coming up with this idea, which I think is a very good idea for a video. So for anyone that is watching this, I highly recommend you to go check that video out because it's definitely very interesting. And hopefully there will be more video responses because video responses are always fun to do. And even fun to watch as well. So that's all I have to say about my 5 most gaming related items, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching and commenting, and of course, check out the original video because I'm going to link it in the description.